Just send them to that small rally down the street.
In this video, we're diving into one of the most heated topics in American politics, abortion. First, we'll look at contrasting views from two prominent figures, former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. Following that, we'll explore a crucial nuance that can often be overlooked when voting on this issue, one that challenges us to think beyond party lines. Finally, we'll share a striking story from Bishop Barron's personal encounter with pro-abortion candidates, revealing his surprising and thought-provoking response. Check this out.
Because you all know, Texas is home to one of the most restrictive abortion bans in our country. In Texas, abortion is banned from the moment of conception. You know what? Just send them to that small rally down the street. It'll be fine. Some people don't have a great sense of direction, but that's okay. We'll show them the way. We'll show them the way.
We'll see Danielle in just a little bit, and more on the eclipse, of course, throughout the day. New this morning, former President Donald Trump gives his stance on abortion. In a video released earlier this morning, the former president says he does not endorse a national abortion ban, saying the decision should be up to the states. Trump also says he believes in exceptions of abortion for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. The announcement comes after a Florida ruling that upheld the state's ban on abortions after 15 weeks.
Now check out this nuanced view of how Catholics should vote, as explained by Bishop Barron.
Oftentimes when it comes to Democrats, abortion is the litmus test. Well, Catholics will say, well, I'm voting for a Democrat candidate despite their position on abortion. Most of them are pro-choice. But what the Pew Research Center found, this was another alarming stat in this fifth fact, was that 77% of Democratic and Democratic-leaning Catholic adults said that they think abortion should be legal in all or most cases. And so for me, it was kind of a mask-slipping moment where it seems like a lot of Catholics are voting for abortion-supporting politicians because of that position and not in spite of it. Talk about this nuanced distinction.
It's an important one, and you laid it out very accurately, Brandon. Is it possible in prudence to say, yeah, I'm going to support a candidate who takes a stance that's really opposed to Catholic teaching, but I'm doing it not because I think that's great, but despite it, and because I think there are balancing issues that he's also for that are really good, or there are things on the other side that I object to so strenuously, et cetera. And you make, it, within that legitimately prudential realm, a judgment. But what you can't say, seems to me, and be consistently Catholic, is what the polls seem to suggest. Namely, I'm voting for this candidate because he takes a position, let's say a pro-choice position. No, you can't do that consistently. It's always a kind of lesser two evil situation. It's a well, yes, despite, never yes, because. And again, that's an example of taking the cues more from the political party, more from the secular discussion than from the church. So that's an important distinction. If you're going to do something or you vote for a candidate who stands for something really opposed to the church's teaching, and that cuts both left and right. I'm not just picking on the left side here. You can't do that consistently, it seems to me. It has to be a prudential judgment despite, not because of.
Finally, here is Bishop Barron's shocking encounter with pro-abortion politicians.
And then finally we got around to, this much vexed question of abortion. And I said to all these politicians, I said, look, you're looking at the son of a dyed-in-the-wool Chicago Catholic Democrat. My father, whose family was actually very involved in Chicago politics, would sooner have become a Lutheran than vote for a Republican. So my whole background is Democratic. But then I said, my major problem with the Democratic Party of today is this very extreme position that they've taken on abortion. And I said, that's where I just, really balk. At which point my interlocutors all said, how important it is to dialogue between the church and pro-abortion right politicians. And I said, yeah, okay, I'm for a dialogue. The church has always said, though obviously we oppose all abortions, we'd love to see a complete ban of abortion. Nevertheless, we'll dialogue if you're willing to set some restrictions. We'll talk to you about that. We'll get behind bills that would restrict the taking of innocent life. So I said, yeah, I'm open to dialogue. But then I began sort of testing the waters. I said, okay, let's say we're having a conversation about this issue. Would you be willing, for example, to limit third trimester abortions? Answer came back, no. I said, how about so-called partial birth abortion? You know, the procedure by which a child basically in the birth canal is killed. Answer came back, no, we would not be willing to give on that. So I said, okay, how about the born alive legislation? You know what that's about? These are laws that say we should protect a child who has somehow, by a miracle, managed to survive an abortion procedure and is now on the table. Would you be willing to support that legislation? And the answer came back, no. And just so you don't think the group I was talking to was particularly intransigent, just a few months ago, Senator Ben Sasse proposed this legislation. He said, look, can't we all agree across the aisle that, you know, a baby writhing on the table, having survived an abortion procedure, should be protected? Can we all agree with that? And of course, he didn't get the votes to break the Democratic filibuster. So see, here is my question. I said, all right, dialogue. Let's talk about it. But if this is the case, what exactly are we dialoguing about? I asked. In any real dialogue, it seems to me, there's a kind of give and take. There's a willingness to, you know, each side going a few steps in the other direction. I think of the many interreligious and ecumenical dialogues I've been involved in over the years. I mean, no one expected the people in those conversations to be somehow religiously neutral or to give up their religious convictions, but the condition for the possibility of a real dialogue is some kind of give and take, some quest for common ground. Usually we'd find, you know, points of contact between our religious perspectives. So I pressed the matter with the politicians. Are you willing to give on this question at all? If protecting the life of a baby writhing on the table, having survived an abortion procedure, if that's too much, again, what precisely are we dialoguing about?